Clayton's geographic location near a lot of open space has attracted the attention of cell phone companies who are willing to pay to locate their towers near the town. Everyone wants cell service, but environmentalists are concerned that this growing numbers of towers in a rural area will kind of mar the environment. Even though they are disguised to look as trees, you can still tell they're not trees. So what do you think? What do you think? Should Clayton continue to allow these cell towers, and what kind of rules might you be interested in imposing on that, if any?
Great question. So the cell tower initiative has been approved by the current City Council, and that project will come before the Planning Commission to look at it from a perspective of design and development. I think there's multiple issues to consider when you're talking about the environment, right? We think of the environment first and foremost perhaps as nature. What will it do to the surrounding areas, to the hills, to the wildlife, that type of thing. But I think another area of the environment that you're speaking to is what is it visually, the visual appeal or lack of appeal for the city. And I think that's probably going to be more of the issue that we need to consider from a public policy perspective is what do we think this impact will have visually on the town? And is it worth it to put these instruments in our town for the payoff? Right? We're going to get this land leased back to the city. It's going to be a source of revenue. So while I approve of having alternative sources of revenue to the city, I think we need to think hard about this and think, does it maintain our small town charm, or is it getting more of an urban look? And if we look at our general plan, specifically states that we need open byways, scenic vistas within our town, and that's something I'm supportive of, keeping this more of a rural feeling town, but also understanding that there may be alternative sources of revenue. So I've not seen the plan before me as a city planning commissioner, so I can't comment specifically on it, but I'm certainly entertaining the idea, being sensitive to what the public wants.
Okay, Mr. Stratford.
Okay, yeah, the cell phone company came to us, presented 2 locations, and Clayton has so few opportunities to increase our revenue that for us it made a lot of sense to pursue these 2 opportunities. The locations that were chosen are out of the way, not very visible to the community. The City of Clayton belongs to the East Contra Costa Habitat Conservancy, so any process they go through would have to be reviewed by them, and there'd be some mitigating measures taken to help with that process. So for Clayton, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to generate some income with very, very low impact to both the environment and to the community.
Okay. Mr. Shuey.
Okay. This is a no-brainer because it's free money. You basically give them a small little plot of land and you get a revenue stream that you don't have to do anything for. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to do anything other than getting through the approval process. Our Planning Commission and our council, as well as our staff, are very cognizant of everybody's concerns about the appearance. We've all driven through those cell towers and we see them. The reality is that, just like anything new, people look at it initially and then it fades into the background. What we need to do is just make sure that we do it as nicely as possible. We've had discussion at the council level about, gee, do they always have to be these bright green pine-looking trees? How about an oak tree look? Yeah. One of the things that we can always continually do with any updates on the leases or renewals of the leases is to, as there's advances in realism, we can update those. But essentially, this is providing service for those in downtown Clayton, which historically has had very poor cell reception. We get updated service for all of our citizens who they want that, especially the kids and their texting, and we get free money. So this is a no-brainer as long as we oversee it properly. Our Planning Commission is doing that. Our council and staff are doing that.
Okay. So continuing on the environmental line, the voters countywide in 2006 approved an urban limit line that excluded most of Clayton's Marsh Creek specific plan area. Do you support leaving the urban limit line where it is or moving it? And if yes, where? And we'll start with you, Mr. Stratford.
Okay. I support leaving it where it is. I think there's a little bit of opportunity for Clayton to bring in a few of those properties that are out there that would stay within the urban limit line, which would be great. But at the same time, Clayton has a small town feel. The more if we develop too heavily out Marsh Creek Road, we lose some of the nature that's so close to us. We increase the congestion. So I'm in favor of keeping it where it is and working within those parameters.
Okay, Mr. Shuey.
Okay. I also support the current urban limit line. being involved in the discussions about the urban limit line and where it can go and where it can't go. I think it's important to understand that that was a collective process between the county and all of the citizens. We have concerns that if you open up, a Pandora's box and say, we want to extend out here, then Pittsburgh, Antioch, Brentwood, all of a sudden can start extending that out, and that will encroach upon the enclave that we have in Clayton that is so important to everybody. So it wasn't perfect when it was put where it was, but it was the process of considerable negotiation at the council level, individual council people, and it's important that we stay part of that process. We don't want to be the rogue now saying, oh, well, we got to do this, because then somebody else is going to come in and say, me too.
Okay, Mr. Meriam, your view on the urban limit line.
While I appreciate our desire to stay small town, I'm actually in favor of expanding the urban living line. There's two particular areas in town that I think would be desirable. One is near the state park entrance off of Mitchell Canyon Road. There's a quarry there, and there's a neighborhood, Dabla Downs, which is technically an unincorporated Clayton. I think that area could easily be included within the city for two reasons. One, we have a neighborhood become part of the City of Clayton formally. Therefore, they can vote and participate in our community and receive our services. Secondly, the city, or the quarry rather, down Mitchell Canyon is not going to be running forever. So when that quarry shuts down, we will then have open space that we can then have formally and officially as part of our town. As far as the Marsh Creek specific area, I've seen that plan. I would be in favor of considering rezoning and bringing that into the city when appropriate. There's an amazing development plan that could come to potential, but right now we don't have the resources and we don't have any developers stepping up to develop that. So right now, let's wait, let's consider it. It's unincorporated. I'd be more in favor of trying to get the areas within the Mitchell Canyon added to the city officially as far as rezoning.
All right, well, we're down to about 30 seconds. Does Clayton need to put a tax measure on the ballot like everyone else, and what would it be? Really quickly, 20 seconds.
No, we do not. We have continually gone to the citizens of Clayton when we needed it. The downtown park parcel was very successful, and we really I don't think at this point we need that, because we have a great staff that is willing and able to keep us within budget and provide the services that we have been providing that the citizens need.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Meriam.
No, I don't believe we do. We are able to control a balanced budget. We're able to limit our expenses versus raising new tax revenues by taxing voters, so I'm not in support of that. Don't tax for the sake of taxing. If we have a specific need, then perhaps consider it.
10 seconds, Mr. Stratford.
No, I agree. No, we don't need a tax measure.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. That concludes the roundtable portion of our discussion. We're now going to move into our closing statements. Each candidate will now have 2 minutes for a closing statement, and we're going to begin with Mr. Shuey.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank Lisa and the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum, as they've done every election. Clayton is very favored to have 4 candidates who each have a proven commitment and caring for the city. However they vote, we are going to have a council that is going to be representative and good for the city. Obviously, I'm here because I think you should re-elect myself to the council. Briefly, for those of you who don't know me, I grew up here. I went to Clayton Valley High School, Stanford University, and Santa Clara Law School. I have a wonderful wife, Shelley, and 5 children, ages 4 to 15. I have a proven commitment to Clayton. In addition to serving on 2 terms of the council, I have also been on the Community Services Commission, and my commitment is clearly out there in the record. Importantly, I think I bring 2 things to the race that no other candidate does. One is young family insight, lines of communication, and concerns. I have children in elementary school, middle school, and high school. I have lines of communication with all of their parents as well as our own in terms of what concerns we have. No other person on the council has, or no other candidate has, that ability to talk to all of the classmates, parents, and all of that. I think that's important. We need that insight because that's a large portion of our population. Just as important, legal knowledge and skills. As a lawyer, I have saved the city tens of thousands of dollars since being on the council. Currently, the city has some ongoing slide litigation that has the potential to have a catastrophic outcome and potentially bankrupt the city. I have led the charge for important changes in the defense that we have been provided, and I'm helping to oversee with my knowledge going forward. I enjoy being your councilman, and I would request that you reelect me to continue to serve the community I love. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Mr. Hank Stratford.
Okay. So it's been an honor to serve on the City Council for the last 4 years. And if reelected, I'll focus my efforts in 4 areas. One is maintaining the city in a way that is fiscally responsible and that protects and enhances our property values. Just a side note, during this last couple of years, a few things that we've done on the City Council to help make sure that we're living within our means. We've adopted a Tier 2 pension program for our employees, for any new employees, which is something that's been a concern throughout the state of California, and something that we've been working on. So we've adopted that. We've kept our budget without having to draw upon our reserves. Something, again, that's been unique, one of the unique things within the county. So I'll continue to work to make sure that we're living within our means, that we're trying to bring in new revenue and maintaining our city. Second thing is ensuring that our police department has the support and resources necessary to keep Clayton safe. Third will be to attracting new businesses and sustainable development that will enhance our city while preserving its character and charm. And fourth is working with our schools to develop a culture in our community that fosters good character development. I spent the past several months working with our elementary school, our middle school, and our high school in developing a program that will help strengthen the character development that's being taught in the schools, and hope that we can bring that throughout the community to make that part of our culture. And I'll continue working on that. Wanted to thank the League of Women Voters and the Contra Costa Times and Lisa, you for having us here. I hope that I'll have the opportunity to serve the City of Clayton for another 4 years, and I hope for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll now hear from Mr. Ted Meriam.
Great. Thank you, Lisa, and also to the League for organizing this event today. I feel very fortunate to have been able to grow up and live within the town of Clayton, a city that honors our families, our parks, our neighbors, and our schools. And as I move back to Clayton to start my own family, I have a deep desire to give back to a community that has provided me so much over the years. I am running for City Council because I believe that citizens should give back to a community, especially in Clayton, where civic enablement and partnership is a deep-rooted tradition. As a civic leader, I've worked alongside many of you to accomplish much. Fundraising for the Clayton community, honoring and preserving our deep historical past, and also building a city that honors our history while also meeting the needs of current and future citizens. I have a deep and proven track record within the city, offering many results through leadership roles, including a city planning commissioner, president of the Clayton Historical Society, member of the Clayton Business and Community Association, co-chairman of the Clayton Valley Garden Club membership, and lastly, co-founder of the P2C Foundation. As I mentioned, our Passport to Clayton program helps develop a downtown business community while also offering families everyday benefits. Outside of Clayton, I'm also a strong performer at the Microsoft Corporation. We have strong leadership in Clayton, and this is a trend, a positive trend, that I want to see continued. However, I bring a fresh perspective that's reasoned and grounded to the council, and also a relentless commitment to the city that I'll continue in a role as a city councilman. Together we can make a difference in our community. So please join me by visiting my website at tedmeriam.com or calling me at 388-6011. It would be my honor and pleasure to serve as a city councilman for the city of Clayton. So on November 2nd, please come and vote. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you for being here. That concludes our forum of candidates running for 2 seats on the Clayton City Council. Once again, the candidates are Ted Meriam, incumbent Hank Stratford, and incumbent David Shuey. Jim Diaz could not attend today's forum. To view this broadcast online, visit ContraCostaTimes.com. I'm Lisa Vorderbrueggen with the Contra Costa Times. Thanks for watching, and please remember to vote on November 2nd.